Hey everyone! With everything that's been happening recently with Chantal, I wanted to take a minute to just sit down and kind of express my thoughts, have a conversation, and see what y'all think. I apologize if some of this is old. As y'all know, I don't do like traditional reactions. I don't know if that's something that people would be interested in seeing because there's already so many reaction channels. But the first thing I wanted to touch on is that I hope people realize that it's not mutually exclusive for Chantal to be both a crappy person and a victim of a crappy situation. We can certainly talk about how much of a hand she herself has played in putting herself in this situation, as we do with pretty much every phase that she shows us online, but it's possible that multiple things can be true. I just feel like it's possible that she is both a manipulative person and the victim in this situation of someone who's being manipulative with her or using her. It just happens to be on a different level or with different ways. I know it's really difficult to believe her, and even personally I find myself questioning pretty much everything she says. And I personally think that there's definitely some things she's being calculated about, or even doing like accidentally on purpose, trying to be coy and sly about it, whether it's in her subconscious or not, such as like flashing the camera so much lately.
I only watched for 5 minutes. Well, you're not seeing a man, who cares? I mean, really. I'm gonna wear this one. You guys like this one? I flashed again. I thought it was out of frame. I'm so tired of being outraged over that. Free the ass. I'm sorry.
I don't know if she's hoping that this guy or BB is watching, and the whole thing with doing this guy's laundry and purposely leaving stuff at his place so that she'll have a reason to go back. I mean, she even said straight up, like, if I could only just get into his house. I do believe that she was trying to cement herself into his life. Pretty clear and obvious that she has some type of motivation or desire there to do the things she's doing, whether she wants to admit it or not. The fact that she's ignored her family, waving the flag of being an addict, saying everyone deserves love and forgiveness, and bouncing back and forth between I do what I want, but being extremely confusing about what she does want depending on that day or that mood, and then like wanting sympathy for her own situation and depression depending again what day it is or what's happening, but then ranting about Pete, saying everyone gets depressed, but then still wanting him to do stuff for her and be there for her, but then turning around and being mean to him. Like, it's not abnormal for her to be extremely erratic and frankly exhausting. And if you're not familiar with how drug use can compound these types of erratic behaviors, it can be even more overwhelming as a viewer. It's interesting that she was so desperate to latch onto this man who clearly wasn't, and might still not be, as into her as she is into him. Whereas from the beginning he thought it was more casual, and she kept giving that impression because I think she liked the idea of being this like cool girl who just has sexcapades and spread your legs and fly and whatever. But at the same time, she loves attention and is desperate for a man and that relationship where he's going to defend her. You know, she's been paying his bills, and then recently on a live said that she doesn't care about her income because it's coming with so much backlash from the audience. It's this really bizarre mindset where her desperation to solidify herself in his life results in her going to places uninvited, driving him places, paying his bills, giving him a TV, and he uses that to the fullest with what seems like no fulfillment of what she expects as an obligation in return, such as moving in or a serious committed relationship. It's like both of their actions come with strings that benefit themselves, but because they don't want the same thing, it's like they're playing each other. And it seems like this guy has the upper hand. She's in super deep, and I completely understand why it's hard for viewers to feel sorry for her because of how much of it was her own doing or red flags that she refuses to see. You know, I said before, I personally feel that she's been manipulative of Pete's, her housemate, for ages, and her need to surround herself with people that she needs to feel like better than, with people that she uses when she needs. I can see why it's really difficult to have any kind of sympathy when she goes on live and cries and questions people, saying, oh, has anyone been in an abusive relationship? Or said she's going to change and get help again and start afresh on Monday, but in typical form, nothing gets better. Because we have all this background knowledge of what she's done to others and what she's doing to herself, it's really hard to garner that care. But I just would hope that we remember that manipulation and abuse and being used is not like a, what's the word, where you're pitting it against each other, like it's not tit for tat. And unfortunately, I think right now is the perfect storm, because from her perception, her desperation is fulfilled whenever he wants something out of her. Like, from her perspective, she's getting what she wants because he seems super into her at that moment in time. I don't know what it's going to take for her to realize that this isn't a healthy or safe situation that she's in. But again, I just feel, I don't feel very hopeful, because in the same way that she's been ignoring red flags with her health, it's the same patterns. It's a lot of the same behavior. Regarding her overall wellness, she hasn't been in a healthy state for a long time. And I know there's times where she's brought up her own behavior and said, oh, well, I know that I can be a bitch and I can be really mean. But I feel like she's only bringing that up as a way to diminish this guy's behavior and to kind of defend him and make the audience approve of him more in some way, when both parties involved are not behaving in a positive way. To me, it doesn't feel like true self-awareness where someone's genuinely turning a new leaf or trying to break previous habits. Like for Chantal, I feel there's so often where she engages in self-deprecating humor, or like this, she'll admit to some negative traits of herself, but I don't think it's an actual like, oh, I realize what's wrong with me, I'm gonna actually make a change. I think most times when she speaks like that, it's just to deflect from something else. Something else I really wanted to talk about is that I feel that our intentions only go so far when the actions and results start getting out of hand. I don't think it's fair to only look at your own intentions and disregard the outcomes of your actions just because you believe your intention was good. And I think this goes for all parties involved in the girl world, you know, reactors, viewers, creators. Especially when dealing with someone like Chantal, we've seen in the past she has a history of not de-escalating drama. I mean, there are certain times where I do feel like every little thing might be being nitpicked about her, and so I understand if she lashes back out. But even when she had some information wrong last year, you know, she is not the type of person to de-escalate or stamp the situation out. I think with all her surrounding drama, she will engage in it. So I just wish people would think more critically about their direct engagement and involvement, especially while this guy is still in the picture. He doesn't seem to understand internet etiquette. He could be getting angry potentially at any reactor. I remember Chantal joking in the past that he didn't understand the difference between her videos and a reaction channel's videos. The way that she talks about her channel and her life being similar to a TV show, I think is interesting, because in the past, there's been times where like you could always tell that she's watched a certain movie. I remember last Christmas, she spoke about how they watched Home Alone, and then a few vlogs later they were looking at Christmas lights, and she was ranting about how it's not Christmas if you've got palm trees, like you can't have a proper Christmas with palm trees, or whatever the line was. And it was like, that's exactly the line from Home Alone. And she was parroting it as if it was her own genuine thought. I just think she has this really bizarre way of soaking up these stereotypes from the media that she consumes, or even like what she imagines. And I think she really thinks a lot of it is like cute or funny or quirky. So thinking that she's in this potentially fairy tale relationship and thinking that she's partying at 37 years old in this dude's living room, when a lot of us do not consider that the partying. Take all that and her being desperate for any and all attention and being so headstrong about the fact that she deserves to be admired without having barely any criticism. She doesn't have any qualms with engaging in drama or trolls. Unfortunately, she's not really sitting here telling this dude, hey, this is what I do for money. This is just the nature of what I do. There's going to be reaction channels. We just have to ignore them. That night when he was ranting in the background, I really think she enjoyed the fact that he was, from her perception, engaged in this drama around her. I really think she thought that he was going to like defend their relationship. There was a point where she brought up their relationship, but he was only talking about his reputation. And while multiple people may have contributed to escalating that situation, it doesn't negate the fact that this guy is a very potentially violent person, which isn't right. But the fact that it's gone like real life, or potentially going real life, is not a good thing. I found it very interesting whenever she was at BB's house and she flipped the camera to him, and then he was sitting there like, the fuck? And she flipped it back and was laughing.
I thought you said you went like this. Sorry, BB. You're exposed now. All the drama.
And she made a joke, you're going to be exposed by the reaction channels. So she does seem to understand that the reaction channels will react to her actions. and that screenshots or quotes don't just materialize out of thin air. Well, except for if someone's straight up lying. And I understand there's different types of reaction channels, like some are more entertaining, some provide more constructive commentary, some just give like an overview or review or their genuine thoughts. But then there are others that are really pointless and silly non-tent. Sometimes I wonder if she sees that distinction as well, though. So again, I know it was a joke. She was laughing and smiling about BB being exposed, but to me that indicates she's aware on some level of the relationship that she has between her content and the reaction channels. So it's odd to me that she doesn't make the connection in her mind between her actions leading to a reaction from these channels simply because her intention here with BB or whoever was different. On some level, I think it goes back again to the doing things like accidentally on purpose, where she just wants to show off guys that she's around. On the topic of intentions, I mentioned there's some reaction channels that have more direct involvement. Personally, I think it's odd when some channels reach out to troll her or continue to troll her with comments about being with her or imagining her sexually and then proceed to make content being grossed out by her when she responds to those comments. I feel it's a really odd line that's being skirted where you're kind of curating or manipulating the content that you are then going to react to. It's kind of this endless loop and back and forth where the audience will hear something from a reaction channel, they'll go say it to Chantal, Chantal will react, and then the reaction channel will be like, oh my god, that's so gross, oh my god, ew, I can't believe she da-da-da-da-da. I absolutely do think that she fetishizes men, especially foreigners, and the way that she jokes sexually about men is questionable, but I don't want to pretend like these channels aren't also in her DMs, asking her for interviews, commenting on her channel, commenting on her stuff, or even saying things in their videos to invoke this type of behavior from her, and then making content out of this back and forth that they themselves engage in. Again, multiple things can be true. It's true that she's making inappropriate comments, but it's also true that these channels are making inappropriate comments. And I don't know if I'd use the phrase like cow tipping, but it's really cringy. And I feel like getting so invested as well without any critical thought might make someone lose sight of how they might be behaving in a way similar to her, similar to what they critique her of, where their actions and reactions are dismissed simply because of what they're telling themselves their intentions are. And that's how someone might unfortunately end up coming across as extremely hypocritical. For example, saying that she's super mean to her audience, but then going around and being mean to your own audience and yelling at them for, I don't know, not providing you timestamps, or saying that DV is an extremely serious situation that shouldn't be monetized or joked about or whichever, but then turning around and singing and making a joke about it. It's just, if there's certain lines that shouldn't be crossed, just because your intentions might be different doesn't mean that it's okay, because the outcome is still the same. On the topic of accountability, I've realized recently that decisions people make don't automatically come with accountability when those decisions were not made responsibly. I think when someone has bad decision-making skills, it's typical that they won't reflect or take ownership of the consequences of those actions, because those poor decisions were made with self-serving intentions that they think are good. I know that a lot of people speculate about what's wrong with Chantal mentally. One thing I think that a lot of us have seen through the years, and even something she admits herself, is that she claims to have a very addictive personality. There's a quote that I want to read from a book called The Synchronicity Key that I think really applies here. Addictions can creep up when we relentlessly pursue pleasure, even when we do so at increasingly crippling costs. The desire to only ever feel good can have us perpetually locked in denial and avoidance of reality, a state in which we are unable to choose between the path of love and acceptance and the path of manipulation and control. I think that it's clear she's on a constant journey to feel good, not ever realizing or being disciplined long enough to see that habits will feel good afterwards when they're good for you, whereas negative habits only feel good beforehand immediately. And it's extremely fleeting.
Oh. Oh. Instant regret for eating that. No, I'm kidding. No regrets. It's nasties.
You won't feel good after eating a bunch of shitty food. The problem is your brain is so good at getting better at whatever it is you're normalizing, even if it's not necessarily a good thing. So let's say you kind of accidentally condition yourself to just scroll and scroll and scroll on social media. You're going to end up building that habit and getting better at it. You get that trigger, the routine, and then what you perceive as some type of reward, so that practice is going to keep building. But just because it is really easy to form these bad habits doesn't absolve you of the responsibility from trying to change them, especially when they affect others.
If I don't get to go on this road, I'm going to lose my mind. I swear. Nobody lets you in. Like, what kind of people don't let people in anymore? Like, are you an alien from another planet? What, like, do you not know that you live with other people? Oh, fuck. Keto is stupid. Ugh! Keto is stupid. Keto is stupid. Keto is stupid. Keto is stupid. I've been wanting to say that for so fucking long. And now that I don't care what people judge me, I can say what I want. I fucking hate keto. It's so fucking stupid. Shove keto diet right up your fucking ass. Oh, I feel so good. Oh my god. Pete! Pete! I think I'm losing it, guys. Like, do you not know that you live with other people?
With Chantal, it just really makes me think that she does live in her own world, because as we saw in the car, it was very easy for her to say, don't you people know that you're around other people when she was inconvenienced, yet she can scream at all hours of the night, regardless of what her housemate is going through or her neighbors. I'm not surprised though, because for her, it's very comfortable for her to think only of herself. She's done a really good job of getting what she thinks she wants, leading to these bad decisions that don't come with accountability. I think if you're constantly seeking what you perceive as pleasure, then it might be really easy to fall into those bad habits. And in Chantal's case, she's even defiant to any type of change. So we see her constantly in denial and evading the truth of her situation. You have to consciously and constantly fight to build new habits. Be disciplined when your motivation wanes, and truly give yourself a new neurological routine to overcome those previous habits that are instilled. I don't doubt that as soon as Chantal gets into her car, she immediately thinks about getting food. I don't think that she can go in her car from point A to point B without having any type of food or drink.
Hi. Can I have 2 Nashville chicken sandwiches, please?
Sorry, we don't have Nashville now.
What?
We don't have Nashville sandwich.
No! Okay. They discontinued it? I need one because of the Nashi. Oh my god. I can't handle this. Oh my god! I gotta go to another Burger King. Actually, I'm gonna cancel my order. Hold on. Sorry, hello? Gotta go. I gotta go find a Nashi. I gotta go. I'll be back. This is ridiculous. They need to warn people. I mean, like, how can this... There's no friggin' way. I swear, I'm craving a Nashi. What is this sourdough chicken bullshit? Oh my god. I need a Nashi.
I think over time she's developed this habit. She's created this association, and it's a ritual practically. She gets the trigger getting into her car, the routine is driving to go get the food, and then the reward is eating the food, even though afterwards she might feel like crap. So overall, I feel like she's been very defiant, whether it's, not realizing how serious the situation is with this guy, or how serious her health situation has been, or her food addiction, or her cleanliness. I think she's always been very defiant and normalized the things that we as the audience find alarming. I don't think her behavior is really that different. It's just maybe a bit escalated or with different addictions or situations. I really love the phrase, the devil you know is sweeter than the devil you don't. Sometimes you get so comfortable with what's familiar that what is unfamiliar seems too daunting. It's not surprising to me that Chantal gravitates towards things that are more familiar and not as difficult. But what's interesting is her constant need for attention and validation and support from her audience, no matter what she's doing. Even though I don't feel she views her audience in a significant way. I think she sees her audience only as a tool to get the validation and adoration that she wants.
For years means you're obsessed. I love that you guys are obsessed. Alright, I guess you guys don't like that idea. You fucking bumps. You guys are so negative. Or are you just being realistic? I don't know. I gotta go to bed. My life is a disaster. So what do? I go live. My life's a disaster. I go live. Look, my ass and my belly jut out the same. It's weird. I've never seen a human built so weird in my life. Well, that makes me special.
And I think as viewers and reactors, we have to remember that we're not the support system she needs because she doesn't see us as real people. She has no qualms giving us whiplash with her behavior, even when she's not being completely honest about what's going on. For example, getting online and crying about her grandmother after being super vague and then completely switching up her tune. She was acting as if her audience was genuinely super important to her and what people had to say, comforting her. But I really don't think she sees us as like real people. She just wants overwhelming adoration. Because if she wanted genuine comfort, then she would have taken the hint many, many times where her audience was like, hey, I don't like this path you're on. It's not healthy. It's alarming. And sometimes comfort comes with tough love. As soon as she turns on her camera, it's like her audience is obligated to give her whatever it is she wants in that situation, even if it doesn't have any substantial or real change. And at the end of the day, any ultimate change has to come from her, no matter what real life support system she could have. I really caution people getting too invested in someone who is not that invested in their own well-being. Like, it's really clear she's on her own trajectory.
And we have to be the authors of our own lives. I would say, you could say, well, watching you eat this is like watching an addict shoot up or an alcoholic drink. And it's not. It's not, because human beings have to eat. We don't have to shoot up. We don't have to drink.
As always, I'd love to know your thoughts. What do you think about relentlessly pursuing pleasure in conjunction with how easy it is to normalize habits that don't feel good in the long run? What are your thoughts about how easy or hard it is to form new habits? When you think about that, does it make you have more sympathy for Chantal or not really? I'd also love to know, do you watch for the entertainment or more for background noise, or is it more for the community? As always, thank you so much for watching, and wherever you are in the world, I hope you're having a beautiful day. Bye!